We're on the road in Lexington. U.S. Senator Deb Fischer is stopping to see some constituents, and you're in the midst of the August break. What are you hearing from folks?
Well, people are concerned about the EPA with the emission standards and with the waters of the U.S., the rules that the EPA is working on for those. They're worried about international concerns. This is really the first time I've heard at almost every single stop. People are worried about what's happening in Iraq and in Syria with ISIS. They're worried about what's going on in Israel. Very, very concerned about the Russian presence and the belligerence we're seeing from Putin. And so those are some of the main things that I've been hearing.
Let's talk about waters of the U.S., Farm Bureau, other groups kind of banding together, ditch the rule campaign, but obviously that is an issue that is well beyond just agriculture. There's a lot of non-ag folks that are finally realizing this can really impact business.
Oh, you're right, Ken. This is a big, big issue for everybody in the state of Nebraska. And I'm happy to see this coalition that's fighting this grow, because it's not just agriculture. It's cities, it's counties, it's home builders, it's construction. All of these businesses, manufacturing, they're worried about the intrusion of federal regulations to an even greater extent with regards to Nebraska water.
Another issue that is yet to be resolved from the administration is where we're going with the renewable fuel standard. That's something that many thought would be done by now. Here we are. You only have a few weeks left once you go back after Labor Day. What are you hearing, if anything, from the administration?
We haven't heard much lately. There was a bipartisan group of senators really across the board who met with Gina McCarthy, the EPA administrator, months ago, asking for some clarification on comments that were coming out of the EPA with regards to the RFS. They need to come up with the standard and what it's going to be. We can't continue with this uncertainty because farmers aren't going to know what to plant. It affects our ethanol production here in the state. And so hopefully they're going to come up with something, and it's going to be reasonable, and we're going to be able to accept it.
Have you heard any frustration from your constituents about the rollout of the Farm Bill, some of the insurance provisions and so on that are putting some folks in peril?
I have not. Good. I have not heard any complaints right now about the Farm Bill. I think most people were just really, really happy that it got passed, as I was. Of course, the crop insurance is the main priority, and we'll keep our eye on that and make sure it's carried out in the way it's supposed to be.
I would guess one of the questions you get asked is your level of frustration with the lack of activity in the Senate, because there are lots of heavy lifts, if you will, left to do. A lot of tax extenders, a lot of things that that folks are kind of counting on, or at least know, so they can plan for the coming year.
It can be very frustrating. As I told the listening session here in Lexington, Republicans have only had about 12 amendments to bills accepted in the last year. Democrats have only had 7 amendments. So this is a situation where the American people are not being represented. And it's just due to one man, Harry Reid. He sets the agenda, and he will not allow things to happen. That's not what's supposed to be going on in the United States Senate. We're supposed to be able to debate, amend, and vote on bills. We're supposed to work together, find consensus, and do things that are going to improve the lives of the American people, and one man is stopping that.
Another issue that will probably may gain some momentum, heard yesterday, the National Farmers Union backing out of the working group, that group trying to look at changing the national beef checkoff. They want Congress to go back and maybe make it more generic than what it was. Is that something that you think should be a concern, or maybe continue to let it work its way through as an industry?
Oh, I'm always supportive of letting industries take care of themselves for their members. We really don't want Congress involved in a lot of this. As you can see, it's dysfunctional in the Senate. The House, they're doing their job. They're passing bills. It sits there, and Harry Reid doesn't bring them up in the Senate. So I would encourage our industry folks to get together to find a way to make the checkoff work and be acceptable to everyone.
Well, we talk a lot about agriculture, but let's talk about something you did mention, the military situation and what's going on overseas. You know, as you were elected, you thought, you know, this may be some of those decisions you have to make. That's a very fluid situation, an ongoing situation. The Senate may have to make some tough calls on protecting American interests.
Well, most definitely. I'm very honored to serve on the Armed Services Committee, and we have hot spots all over the world. Everyone knows that Russia's become very belligerent. They violated a cruise missile treaty. They're massing troops on the border of Ukraine. They've taken over and partitioned off Crimea. They are not a good player, and I can tell you the Europeans are nervous about that. We look at a terrorist state that has developed in Syria and in Iraq. This is a well-funded, well-disciplined, well-trained terrorist group. And they are not just focused on that area. They are focused on us in the United States. It's a training ground for Americans who have gone over there, for Europeans who have gone over there. They are battle-hardened, and they will be coming back here. We all need to be worried about that. And then you look at what's happening in Iran with their move towards the nuclear weapons, I believe, and the continuing push back of a date when we need to reach an agreement with them not to head in that direction. We lessen sanctions on them. We're seeing a vacuum of leadership, and it's playing out on the world stage, and it's making the world an even more dangerous place to live. America needs to step forward and be a leader. When we say something as a country through a president, it should mean something. It should comfort our friends. They should know they can depend upon us. And it really should make our enemies pause and take note. I'm very concerned that we're not seeing that leadership.
Senator Fischer, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
United States Senator Deb Fischer has joined us on the road in Lexington. I'm Ken Rahjes for AgView.